First of all, everybody, good morning and welcome to the Baldwin Hotel, the newly refurbished Baldwin Hotel. Yeah. Well, if you've had a chance to visit this hotel in the past, you know that we're excited on this complete renovation of this hotel. But it's a wonderful place. If you look around and you know the past, you'll know how significant this contribution is. And it's a wonderful place that a lot of people will call home, and certainly a place of hope for so many people, and certainly for formerly homeless and for veterans, single adults that we're helping out with our deeper compassion as we struggle with our homelessness challenge in the city. I think we're lucky to be at a time when our city has such strong economic prosperity, and we want to make sure that we're demonstrating for those that are most challenged that we want to also be sure that we're doing everything we can to assist them. To celebrate a major milestone in this effort, this particular hotel is open today, and we're welcoming in, just today, some 50 formerly homeless individuals to their new home here at the Baldwin Hotel. And it'll be more than just the 50. We have some 180 residents that will call home here at the residential hotel of the Baldwin in our SOMA. And I know Supervisor Kim is excited about this, and so are we. And so is our Director of Hope, as he and his staff know that we're not just treating people on the streets, we're not just bringing them into a better environment at the Navigation Center, we're also backing that up with permanent, sustained homes for them. And I think that that is a wonderful accomplishment. It's a full circle, I know, Bevan, that you've been wanting to have as we do more for our residents and get them off the streets for very good reason. We have a tremendous challenge coming with I think our expected winter months that are coming up, and we know that we've got to get more of these residential hotels, primarily those that have been kind of kept vacant for many years. And I know Randy Shaw's here because he can testify, along with Supervisor Kim, that a number of our residential hotels have been kept vacant for a variety of reasons, and we are now having to create, and are lucky to create, new relationships with our hotel owners. I know that our homelessness challenges we can't solve them alone. Government cannot do it alone. And that's why I'm proud to have a partner with Mr. Patel. Deepak Patel is part of a new management called, yes, Deepak. Deepak was just joking a minute ago. I called him up in the front. He goes, not another inspection. But I want to signal an appreciation I have for Mr. Patel, for Mr. Emmer, for Mr. Sadish Patel. DRS Management is one of the groups of managers of our single room occupancy hotels in the city that we're doing our best to make sure we create a different kind of relationship with the city. Not one that is just filled with inspections that might lead to litigation, but more about a partnership that is challenged by our housing crisis. And we need to have new relationships with our residential hotel owners because they are at the forefront of the most affordable housing that our formerly homeless can now live in, and live in decently and with dignity. And I want to make sure I continue to praise them because backed up with this new relationship is a master leasing that invites rooms to be rehabilitated, a lobby here that has been completely rebuilt, bathrooms that are renovated, electrical systems that are totally upgraded, and a brand new community kitchen that's been added to the Baldwin Hotel. And this is what we can do to this hotel as we free it up with 180 units of housing that'll be part of the 500 units of sustained housing that we want to have with formerly homeless people that we want to invite out of our streets and in through the navigation shelter where they can navigate the enormous amount of services that we're providing. And as they do, and as they spend some weeks in the navigation shelter getting their their services and their support systems in place. Then we have their own units that they can call home right through the Baldwin, but we have more to announce on other residential hotels that we're freeing up and that we're master leasing and that we're renovating at the same time. I know Mr. Patel, through months of negotiations with him and a number of other hotel owners, share our values that they want to be part of the answer, not part of the challenge. And so we're not going to stop here. After the Baldwin is filled and done, we have the Drake Hotel. That's part of the 500 units that we've identified. We have the Henry Hotel just a block down, and we're going to open that up before the end of the year. That will add another 130 permanent homes for those most in need. Coming in line, there is the Civic Center Hotel up on Market Street and the Minalea Hotel that is expected to open in the spring. These homes will help house many of our individuals on the street. And when I said that the hot teams are going to get more help, that we won't just move people from one corner to the other, we really meant it as a city. We are compassionate towards those that are on the streets. We don't want them to be in danger for health reasons. We don't want them to be in danger for reasons that are public safety reasons. It is not good for them to be on our streets, and we are expecting the worst of our winter months that are coming up. And in fact, we're working with our Interfaith Council already to identify the opening up early of our winter shelter program so we can house more people and get them into a process in which they can expect to have some long-term housing as the end result of this. I know our police officers also don't want to do endless moving of people around, and they the most, because they in Public Works want to make sure that we have as the end result something that we can look forward to, something that residents on the street can look forward to as well. Housing people on our streets is a priority for me. It's been a priority since we hired Bevan Dufty, who's now turning 60, and so many newspapers want to write about your 60th birthday, Bevan. But we know that you're celebrating a milestone not just in your life, but in your profession. I think you've cared for people time and time again. That's why we pulled you off of the brinks of retirement into something that you can do good with on the directing of Hope. And I know that Sam is going to be very anxious to make sure he can do his best and fulfill the shoes, the big shoes that you've left, that you are leaving. But I know that you have as a pride the Navigation Center, which I think we've done correctly with all of your input, all of your passion. And I want to make sure that that has as its goal, not just the center, but to house more people permanently. And we're on the brink of something very good, ending chronic homelessness for our veterans by the end of the year, tackling transitional age youth and their challenges. We're only 2 projects away. We know what those projects are. And then to make sure that we start tackling family homelessness as we tackle the entire group of homelessness that we have. I know we're 3,500 people off the streets away from this. We're not going to have the answers right away, but we're going to have a continuing answer to our homeless challenge. And we know that you have been a great part of our answers to all of it. And again, I say to you and to all of us, we lead with our passion and our compassion for people on the streets. We will not move them corner to corner. We want to have those sustained support for them. And as they go through the NAV Center and get that support, we want to make sure we have the units there behind them. I know Mr. Patel and all of his colleagues are excited to work with us because we're going to end the constant litigation that seems to surround these residential hotels and more about our partnership, because they are, in fact, the last of the kind of round of efforts that are affordable homes to a lot of people, and we need to protect and preserve this housing for long-term to come and for the long-term needs that we have. This city is a world-class city. We've got a world-class heart, and I want to introduce to you a current resident who's just moved in to the Baldwin Hotel. His name is Renard Hamilton, and he's had a lot of challenges in his life, and he can speak to that directly. But just speaking to him outside, we know that he feels safer. He's got his own room that he can lock at night and feel safe. He doesn't have to go from shelter to shelter. He doesn't have to be challenged on the streets, as many of our residents do on a day-to-day basis. He can live in this residential hotel, call it home, know that services are there, and that we have a community room now that was never here before, refurbished bathrooms and all the attributes that we've had. But the most important thing is that he knows there's a city that cares for him, and I want him to spread the word to people that he may have lived with on the streets in years past, say that we have better answers than we did before. It isn't about the shelters any longer. It's about permanent homes, that we have new relationships that we can call home, renovate these places, master lease these places, and make sure that those on the street expect that we have better answers for them. So if I can introduce and welcome to the Baldwin Hotel, Raynard, here's your welcoming basket, but most importantly, a welcome by the city for the things that you've been challenged with, to make sure you know not only are we got cookies here for everybody that's going to be moving in, but also a long-term answer to the long-term challenges that you faced. Renard. Welcome home.
I would like to say thank you. When the management asked me to speak, to me it was an honor. Being homeless was hard. I didn't even have a bed. I had to sleep in a chair. If you ever tried to sleep in a chair, wow, it's really hard. I couldn't believe that I was homeless and that I ever would be homeless. And my mom had died, and I didn't have nowhere to go. So I talked to the probation people, and they gave me a room at the Baldwin. And at that time, it was bad. It was like roaches all on the wall. I couldn't even sleep. I had to go back to the shelter. And what happened was, I guess, I kept praying, and the Tenderloin Housing Clinic or whoever answered my prayers, and the building started getting renovated. And today, my room is so clean, and I'm just happy to be here, and I'm thankful, for what I got right now, because it's really helping me to become a better person. I stopped selling drugs, and I'm stopped using, and I'm trying to become a better person. And by being in this building, it's helping me be a better person. It's giving me the opportunity to be able to get up and take a shower and take care of my business. If I was homeless on the street, I don't know what I would be doing right now. I don't know. Probably be on drugs in the alley. I don't know. So I'm real thankful, and I'm real protective about, this Tenderloin Housing Clinic, because they show me nothing but love. I can talk to the counselors anytime, just knock on their door, and they're willing to hear what I have to say. To me, that's big. So I appreciate everything. Thank you.
Thank you, Renard. And we have two amazing community builders and community leaders that are going to speak next. And the first is going to be our hard-charging supervisor for District 6, Supervisor Jane Kim.
So I didn't actually know you were turning 60, but now I know. I just want to say, so I live 2 blocks away from the Baldwin Hotel. I walked here from my house, and actually I walked here yesterday too, and I got to see the new lobby on Monday. And I just have to say, as a resident in the neighborhood in the South of Market and on 6th Street, this housing matters to me. My community, my neighborhood is safer and healthier and stronger when we house more of my neighbors in quality and safe and healthy housing. And so I'm so excited to now be able to call Raynard my neighbor, and that he's going to be here at the Baldwin Hotel. Many of us were here when Bevan took us through a tour with HSA and the mayor's office. And really reimagining what this hotel could look like was actually quite a task and a feat. And to see it now, it's truly extraordinary, the transformation, and what this will mean for the 180 residents that will be able to call the Baldwin Hotel their home is extraordinary. And I think we know building more affordable housing doesn't just mean new construction. And here in a city where it can cost up to $450,000 a door, we know that we also have to acquire and rehab existing housing that may be underutilized, vacant, or not in the best conditions. So this is an incredibly important piece of the solution to a more affordable San Francisco. But more than housing, we use this phrase a lot, but it does take a village to make housing successful. It's not enough just to have a room or an apartment that's available. We need an entire community that is going to embrace the housing that is here. So whether it means having advocates like Randy Shaw and Catherine Looper and her husband Leroy Looper, who demonstrated that single room occupancy hotels are an important part of our housing stock, an important part of housing for, in particular, our low-income singles, or to the incredibly strong organizing that Pratibha and Jeff Buckley, Jeff Buckley used to do with Central City SRO Collaborative, making sure that we are serving, organizing, and empowering our residents to have a say in what is going on in their neighborhood, to having landlords and property owners that care, that want to invest in their community, like Mr. Patel. Thank you so much. We could not do this without property owners and landlords like you. But because we're talking about Bevan Duffy's birthday, I really have to acknowledge Bevan's incredible leadership at City Hall. Bevan has decades of service, and we could talk about all of it. But in particular, in my time since I've been on the Board of Supervisors, I don't think that there has been anyone in City Hall that has done more to address issues around homelessness, whether it is singles, to veterans, to families, than Bevan. And I am just so grateful for your leadership. But I have to acknowledge that that would not have been possible if we didn't have a mayor that was willing to believe in your crazy ideas, because they were crazy, and be willing to do things differently than we've done it before. Homelessness has been a chronic issue in urban cities over the last 30 years, and I think that we have done a lot to address it. But our ideas need to evolve as homelessness continues to evolve as a phenomenon in cities across the nation. And I just want to thank you for your ideas. And Mr. Mayor, I want to thank you for investing and believing him and letting Bevan loose to do this work, both with his office, HOPE, but also with Human Services Agency. And I think that we are in good hands with Sam Dodge. And Randy, I should say, for all the accomplishments that an individual can have, I think actually the most successful ones are your proteges. And you have Sam and Jeff that are continuing your work here at City Hall. So thank you for your mentorship and growing our leaders that are going to be solving the problems of today. Thank you to everyone, and congratulations to Raynard and all of our residents and my new neighbors.
Thank you, Supervisor. As the mayor said, this building would not have been possible without Tenderloin Housing Clinic participating in the federal funding process and securing the funds that we're able to leverage as part of our overall effort to provide housing for people exiting the Navigation Center. The supervisor and the mayor acknowledged that our colleagues from the Human Services Agency, I want to acknowledge Joyce Crum and Scott Walton, who are here from HSA, and to really say that this building reflects best practices, that we're looking at coordinated entry to really look at people who've been homeless the longest and make sure that they are our priority to house. Our next speaker is an incredible leader, as the supervisor indicated, a leader in San Francisco on permanent housing, on forging relationships with SRO hotels where we can utilize the resources we have, and someone who is a great boss and mentor to the next Director of Hope, Randy Shaw.
Thank you all. You know, I've been involved with homeless problems that started in 1982, and there's really 4 components to moving towards solution. One, you have to have a mayor who wants to invest money and make it happen, and that's what we have with Ed Lee. I mean, the reality is, whenever people say to me, well, where are the voices in the Lee administration who wants to fund supportive housing? I say, well, it starts with the mayor, because if he didn't fund the 500 units, and no one has mentioned, but Sam said it was okay, you know, we're going to do another 172 units, 3 hotels we have set to open up July 1. So it keeps going, but it takes a mayor who has a vision. So we have that. The second part is you have to have government officials who get it. I mean, not mentioned here, it was Bevan's idea, who really pushed against a lot of internal opposition to do the Stanford Hotel, an amazing project at 250 Kearny Street for homeless veterans. Bevan's leadership in passing it on to Sam made the Baldwin possible, because Sam kept saying to me, the mayor wants rooms. Can you find rooms? And that makes a big difference. Sam has been with the Henry Hotel, all of the projects THC is doing. Sam is like, let's make this happen. I'll meet with the owners. I'll convince them. So that is a critical component. The third component, obviously, is the ownership. And it's so grateful for me to hear the mayor and Supervisor Kim and Bevan talk about the Indian community and the incredible role it's played. We would not have a homeless program in San Francisco without the leadership of the Indian American community. They have decided to put their own commitment to housing poor people. And yes, they're in the for-profit business, but they're not maximizing their profit. And that is really the difference. And that's why Deepak, who's also, we're doing the Drake, which will be occupied soon, a beautiful renovation project we're doing on 235 Eddy Street, right across from Bodecker Park. We have the Heartland Hotel, we have the Raymond Hotel from Deepak, and he's done other projects. And it makes such a difference, because we can have all the greatest ideas and we can have all the funding, but if we don't have owners willing to lease their properties, it doesn't happen. And the fourth component is really, you have to have nonprofits willing to take the very thankless and arduous work of opening up these hotels. I mean, I'll be very clear, you know, our staff is Sarah and George who are there, and Tabitha, and all of you, you might raise your hand, all of you who've worked so hard for the Tenderloin Housing Clinic employees, because let me tell you, you know, the owner's paying for the renovation and making it happen. We're supervising it. We have to deal with all the tenant problems during transitions, and it's not easy. It's not easy. And that's why you don't see a lot of nonprofits eager to get into this business. It's not real lucrative. That I can share with all of you. It's not real lucrative. You know, it's like the mayor says, yes, we want to fund all this, but then you get the HSA and every nickel is fought over. So it's a tough business, but we have the mission to do it, and so, as do some other nonprofits. And so those 4 components have taken us to this point. So at the time we end this, I do want to show people room 101, which is a sample room. You can also see the kitchen, but we will have an opportunity for the media to see that room, so just let us know. So thank you again to all those who made this possible.
So I just want to acknowledge the other members of the HOPE team. Dee Scheck-Snyder and Christine Keener are here. And as the mayor said, it's so important. Our police officers really want to see us house people. That's the most important thing. Captain Teresa Hewins is here from Tenderloin Police Station. And we hope you'll stick around and come see things. And thank you so much for joining us. And a big round for Sam. We're excited about him stepping in as well. Thank you so much.
Let me make sure you know it's Renard Hamilton. All right. Thank you.